We apologize for the late start of the program, but good afternoon. You're watching ABC News. This is ABC Midday, and I'm Eric Chunibwatmelo. Coming up in the headlines. The newly sworn-in president of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, has official duty begins today, and he is expected to be in office. We will bring you more on this. Also, the appointment for presidential advisor for the government's flagship 24-hour economy has been lauded. Also in the bulletin, the failure of the outgone administration of the NPP to fulfill promises in procuring fuel for power generation is likely to send the country back to doomsday. Government is in an emergency meeting with stakeholders. In business, government has urged to strengthen Ghana's betting tax rather than removing it. These parliamentary rapid support forces of committing genocide and impose sanctions on its leader. The details of the bulletin begins now. Do stay with us. You're welcome once again to the program. I am Eric Chunibwatmelo. The news is streaming live on YouTube, ABC News Ghana. Your thought and comment would be appreciated. Let's begin with the first story. The Member of Parliament for Yape Kushegu and former Deputy Energy Minister John Abdullahi Jinapor has disclosed that President John Dramani Mahama has instructed the Chief of Staff to hold an emergency meeting with power sector players regarding the looming power crisis. The NP and energy expert yesterday interacting with the media at the inaugural ceremony warned that the country will be facing a serious energy crisis. Let's get back and listen to what he said. We're back with some more updates. We'll bring you that shortly, but earlier today we understand that the NP also hinted that His Excellency and the President has instructed the Chief of Staff to chair a meeting with all stakeholders in the industry, and the meeting involves various power generation companies in the country to find ways to stabilize power supply and prevent doom. So according to him, GRIDCO, WAPCO, VRA, GNPC, BOST and all relevant stakeholders are expected to attend the meeting. The essence of the meeting is to find solutions to these challenges and left behind by the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo administration, which is regarding in stock of some 255 metric tons. KTPP has also current stock of 1,275 metric meters expected to last for 1.5 days, with a unit running continually for send power. The current stock available is 293,000 meters projected last of the month, and he also has disclosed that that the power producers are facing fuel shortage and the Asogli plant is completely out of fuel. We will be joined on the line by policy. We'll be joined on the line by Kojo Yaocha, who is the policy lead on petroleum and conventional energy. As we said earlier, we understand that the President Dramani Mahama is holding an emergency meeting with some energy sector stakeholders just to better understand what exactly the conversation is about. We do know that yesterday during the inaugural ceremony, the former Deputy Energy Minister John Jinapor hinted that the country is sitting on time bomb as the outgoing administration failed to procure some deals, especially with regards to the energy sector, and Ghana is, in a state of emergency in terms of its energy sector. And we just want to understand what this means. Are we really going to have some power crisis, as it has been circulating, and the government of the day is touting? Some also are questioning the realisticness of this particular conversation about the energy crisis, and perhaps when we do engage Kojo Yauchem, who's the policy lead on petroleum and conventional energy, with ASEP, we will get more clarity on that. But still on that particular matter, as you see on the screens, a meeting going on with the government and energy stakeholders. We will get you some of the bites of that, but we're joined on the line by Kojo Yauche, who is the policy lead on petroleum. Mr. Yauche, good afternoon, and perhaps Happy New Year is in order. First of all, a day after the inaugural ceremony of the new administration, and the energy sector is in crisis. Per your assessment as an energy expert, what does this mean for us?
Good afternoon and Happy New Year as well. Hopefully this year we get to have more, less worrying conversations about the energy sector. But I should say that the problems that we are having now did not just appear out of the thing just after the inauguration of the new president. I remember a few days towards the end of last year, we had a conversation on the state of the energy sector, and the picture we painted then did not show that the sector was in a healthy state. There are quite a number of challenges that we enumerated, among them the crippling debt situation, which is snowballing into a lot of smaller problems around, including generation and all of that. But what we have now really is a maintenance that has been scheduled last year, but for some reasons have been rescheduled to somewhere the later part of this month. We've not started facing the challenge yet, I should say. And that is supposed to take close to a month to fix. So somewhere from January 20th to February 16th, that is when the problem is supposed to manifest, which is arising from a scheduled maintenance of the gas pipeline that is bringing in gas for power production. So that really is the challenge, and it is expected that there will be contingency measures to, for example, get in liquid fuels for plants that are combined cycle, dual fuel plants in the thermal power enclave, to be able to use the liquid fuels to be able to produce power. But then it goes down to the problems that we've been facing in the power sector for a while now. That has to really do about really planning some of these scheduled maintenance, because these are things that are communicated to the system planners way before they manifest. What kind of planning do we have to ensure that the effect on the consuming public is mitigated to a larger extent? What we have now is that even if government is able to find some money to procure the liquid fuels for power to be produced, that is again taking money that could have been spent on other forms of social spending to go back into the power sector that we have all complained that is inefficient. Because the planners are telling us that we're going to need close to $100 million to be able to get liquid fuels within the period that we're talking about, and that is money that we all agree we don't have. We have to now dig economists would say opportunity cost, prioritize the energy sector over some other sector that had been budgeted for. And these are things that, with the new government coming in, we want to see them injecting some new level of efficiency into the management of the energy sector.
Kojo, as we speak now, we do know that the government of the day is having, a stakeholders meeting with the energy sector stakeholders. But clearly, the release of the former deputy, the former energy minister, Herbert Krampa, seeming to disregard the earlier conversation that John Jinapol made, saying that the outgoing government failed to procure some oil stock, and he says that the government of the day should fix it. But generally, let me ask you, should the outgoing government should be, held responsible for failing, in quotation, for failing to perhaps procure these oil stock that they talk about, or it is something that it was unexpected?
I think the fact of the matter here is that whether who is responsible or otherwise, the fuel is not there for us to generate power with. And the conversation we have to be having is how do we get the fuel? Even if half of what is required, we can be able to get it so that the deficiency that is left, we can ration it among consumers and transparently communicate that to them. That should be the focus right now. Because, like you indicated, Herbert Krapper says, well, you are here now, fix it. That is an admittance to the fact that they have not procured the fuel. So we've moved past that conversation to really figure out how we are going to get a fuel to ensure that within the period that the maintenance work is being done on the pipeline, we are able to still serve the consuming public and not have people endure darkness, because we are getting to the peak of the Harmattan period where there's a lot of heat, and people need electricity for cooling and other forms of economic activities that you wouldn't want to deprive them. So we have to move the conversation now to how are we going to get the fuel, and I'm sure in the meeting that the president is having, ideas will be thrown around. But I think most importantly, we have to, beyond today and beyond this current event, we have to move to the point where we are able to strategically plan some of these things so that it doesn't just become an opportunity for knee-jerk reactions, for people to immediately mobilize to go and procure. They may not get it at competitive rates and all of that, which creates a lot of debt for the energy, the power system. So we have to really move beyond this kind of ad hoc reactions to some of these planned maintenance schedule. If there is a breakdown, everybody understands that there is a breakdown. But in this case, it's something that has been scheduled. So you would expect that there will be some strategic planning to be able to put in place contingency measures to be able to deal with this.
Kojo, just as I said, the energy stakeholders conversation is still happening. We don't know exactly what is happening. But just to pick your thought on what the president said earlier during his soda, he made mention, in fact, he hammered particularly on saying that they have been able to keep the light on consistently in the administration. But as I said earlier, just the day of the inaugural service, we got note about the danger that is looming ahead. But that aside, what measures can be done just so this issue does not escalate? Because it just does not affect the energy sector. It's going to affect transport. Wide range of impacts. But what in the interim can be done to solve this issue?
There is a systemic problem, which is the inefficiency in revenue collection at the distribution end. That has really snowballed into all of these challenges that we are having. And the former president saying that they managed to keep the lights on. Then there's the question, at what cost? Right? At the point within the period of his governance, we were having to prop up the energy sector out of the budget to the tune of about $1.5 billion annually, just to prop up the inefficiencies in the power sector. And this is money that could have gone into free SHS, could have gone into the 1V, 1D, all the flagship programs that is supposed to alleviate poverty and improve the welfare of citizens. And you are spending on just one sector, right? So we have to note that there is a systemic issue. And I'm hoping that today's conversation will really come out with strategies on how to fix the inefficiencies in the revenue collection and management at the distribution end. Because that's the biggest Achilles heel of this power sector. If we don't get it, any other attempt without fixing that will really be an exercise in futility, and we'll have to come back every now and then to be having this conversation we're having today.
Kojo, we appreciate that you could speak with us this afternoon. Kojo Yaoche is a policy lead on petroleum and conventional energy with ASEP, and as we said earlier, the crunch meeting that is being held at the presidency, we do not know exactly what is happening, but we'll get you more up to speed of information as and when we do grasp some information from them, because it looks like the country is in a serious crisis in terms of energy, and Mahama just assumed office. I mean, today is day 2 of his administration, so perhaps he has about 128 days, if I'm not mistaken, of his administration, and we're keeping an eye on that. But still, on some energy matters, the former energy minister Herbert Krampa has called on the newly elected NDC government to focus on effective management of the power sector rather than apportioning blame to the previous administration. His comments come in response to allegations made by John Jonapo, co-chairman of the Transition Team's Energy and Natural Resource Subcommittee, who claimed that massive load shedding looms on Ghana's fuel stock depletes. Quoting, in a strongly worded statement, Mr. Krampa dismissed the claims as unfounded, stating that load shedding does not loom but arises from either technical issues, emergency, or poor management. He refuted the assertion that the Akufo-Addo administration left inadequate fuel stock, citing verifiable evidence that light crude oil and heavy fuel oil supplies were in place for Sen Power and AXA Power Plant. And we want to also get some perspective from the camp of the old administration, and just to get some perspective on that, who actually needs to be held accountable. Perhaps, as some have said, that the old administration knew what they were trying to do, and they are putting this government on I should say public dissatisfaction, if that this is a trap for the new administration. And joining us on the line is the spokesperson of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo government, and of course a security expert as well, Dr. Palgrave Boache Dankwa. Mr. Dankwa, good afternoon and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, and a very good afternoon to you and to your
Thanks that you can speak to us. First of all, before we engage concretely on this substantive conversation, let me just pick your initial thought on what transpired yesterday at the Blackstone Square, where officially Ghana has seen its first female vice president and your major competitor, I should say, the opposition's NDC flag bearer. Now the president has been sworn in. Your initial thought on that?
Well, initially, let me just first send my congratulatory message to the president, John Dramani Mahama, and obviously commend his bold decision to maintain Professor Nano Pokuagyemang as his running mate over the opposition period, and now for Ghana to record the first female vice president. Extremely commendable. Yesterday was a very colorful moment for Ghana. It was another hallmark in our democracy. Africa was here to see the likes of President Paul Kagame, to see the president of Botswana, to see the military junta from Burkina Faso, to see Ruto from Kenya, president, to see my very good friend, President Zuma, former president of South Africa. It was really commendable to see the rank and file of Africa, to see Tinubu, the head of ECOWAS and also the head of Nigeria, really restores a lot of faith and confidence into Ghana's democracy. And I was particularly excited when I heard the speech of President John Dramani Mahama elude the friendship and camaraderie that have been existing over the past years of their life between the outgone president Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo himself, were very good moments of the fact that politically, when we are campaigning, we may have disagreements on policies because of how our political ideologies are oriented. But on a very nationalistic level, we are friends, and that's what must be drummed home to the grassroots. For the grassroots to always know that we may have our disagreements politically, we may not agree on certain levels, but we still are friends, and that friendship has been maintained over the years. And clearly, he concluded his speech by addressing the needs of the Ghanaian people and how he seeks to continue to build upon the legacy of President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, spoke about the economy, spoke about trying to ensure that they stabilize it a lot more because of how far we have come and how we had begun, spoke about governance and spoke about the influence of that, spoke about the advance of corruption and how he wants to be able to address corruption, bearing in mind that the Israel government, Akufo-Addo, had set up the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And so, I mean, I think that yesterday was very good, and it goes a lot more in our favor of the CAP to see that one of his major 2-2 competitor, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in the flag bearership of the MPP in the 2024 general election, graciously congratulated President John Dramani Mahama, goes a lot more to speak about his character and his level of humility and level of patriotism and as a Ghanaian. And President John Dramani Mahama has called the Ghanaian people to be Ghanaians, just like President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo called us to the citizens and not just the staters. And so continually building on the legacy of President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And we commend him and we wish him well.
Dr. Dankwa, I mean, just as you commend him, unfortunately or fortunately, let me just say, he just assumed office a day just after his inaugural service, and he's been greeted with some energy crisis. As we speak now, there is a crunch meeting with some energy stakeholders, and perhaps you want to take some bite on that before we engage you on the substantive conversations too in the energy sector.
Well, there's no energy crisis as much as we are concerned. We left a very booming energy sector for President John Dramani Mahama. The last day of work, which was the 5th of January 2025, when we were leaving office, our lights were on. Send Power already had fuel. ASCA was also receiving fuel. And so we know that we left a very robust energy sector for John Dramani Mahama, President. And we wish that they would continue that and maintain that. Because you see, one of the things that comes with leadership is a lot of sacrifices. And our government, the government of Akufo-Addo and John Bawumia-led government, were sacrificed a lot. We sacrificed to keep the lights on all throughout from 2017 till we handed over 2 days ago, and even yesterday, the lights have been on. And so I'm sure that they would be able to resolve these issues. It's fuel that we have left, and ASCA is also receiving fuel. So I'm sure that all those looming challenges that they so want to remind the Ghanaian people of days of doomsday and all of those, I don't think that President John Dramani Mahama would want to be reminded of a legacy that we have been able to solve. And I've stated that this should be his legacy presidency, and anyone who would want to remind him of failures of the past, he has come to correct those failures so we can have a better image of him in the future.
Dr. Palgrave, I mean, just as you said that you left a robust energy, sector for the new administration, then the question, becomes why are we, or why did the former the energy minister, John Jinapor, made mention that we are actually in a looming, crisis in terms of energy? Yesterday, I believe you listened to what he said. And perhaps I want to ask, did the outgone administration set this government up, and was it deliberate, if I'm supposed to put it in that context?
Well, I don't even know whether the Honorable John Jinapor is the energy minister, as you're alluding. But,
because he said your government failed to
No, but you said he's an energy minister. I just want to correct that. I mean, I don't know whether.
Well, I mean, I said former. I mean, just by way of correction.
Well, I didn't hear the former, but it's okay. It's not a problem. So you see, let's be very real with ourselves. I mean, the government has gone through a transitional period, and we had a joint government from the 7th of December to the 7th of January. I mean, even though we had a certain president, President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, the government was put in a transitional period. And the wisdom of the act presupposes that during the transitional period, we open our books to the incoming government, and that is what we did. We definitely opened our books to the incoming government on all sectors that are very, very important and critically relevant for the incoming government. There is no way that anyone would state that we set up President John Dramani Mahama for failure on the first day of assumption of office, when we had 4 weeks of transitioning office. We kept the lights on all throughout. In the past 4 weeks, we've had fuel. Sempower has had fuel. They've been pouring all throughout. ASCA has been receiving fuel. So it's a bit preposterous for anybody to want to lay claim that the challenges that President John Dramani Mahama is facing on day 2 of assuming office is a purported sabotage from the SWAL Akufo-Addo Bawumia government. I don't think that is anything that would hold claim to. You had a former Energy Minister, the Honorable Herbert Crapper, release a statement on his Facebook page.
Which a lot of people have criticized. Which
I mean, which is why you are seeking clarity, because which is why I'm stating that there was a 4-week transitional period. In that 4-week transitional period, these issues that the Honorable the Honorable John Dapo is raising and alluding to are not issues that could not have been resolved. I mean, we are very much confident that we left a lot of liquidity in terms of fuel for Sempower, which is why the lights are on today, and we left a lot of fuel for ASCA, who also will be receiving that. And so there's no way we will take a blame for that at all. I mean, I think that the President John Dramani Mahama would rise up to the occasion to be able to meet these issues. And I don't think that he wants to be reminded of the legacies that he left in years past. This is a legacy correction that has brought him back into office. And I want to see that he corrects those issues and not lay blame. It's too early to lay blame to a very successful government of President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led government in the 2 days that he has just come into office.
Well, we did not know or see what exactly the transition, did, and we don't have the official document yet. But just as you mentioned, but just so we get clarity over here, and so the outgoing administration is not taking the blame for the looming possible doom to be expected in the energy sector, I believe.
Can I give you an example? Imagine that this was a second term for President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, or imagine that this was the first term for President Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Do you think that you would have an issue being raised like this? And so, for me, it's very preposterous for anybody to say that we should take blame for a looming energy crisis. There is no looming energy crisis. There isn't any looming energy crisis. And I do not want to think that the President, John Dramani Mahama, wants Ghanaians to regret for making a decision and bringing him into office. It's too early for Ghanaians to regret of that decision. It's too early for Ghanaians to be reminded of any level of incompetence. It's too early for Ghanaians to be reminded of doom so. And I don't think that the Ghanaian people want to be reminded of that. I would plead with the government of the day, President John Dramani Mahama, to really be fair to the outgone government, led by Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led government, and to state very unequivocally that we have not sabotaged the government. It's not our desire to do so. We kept the lights on. We've been very integral. We've made sacrifices to make sure that this country is running. Insane sacrifices that we made, they should also do same as well. And that is the right of the Ghanaian people, to make sure that every single thing works in this country. And so we watch them and we wish them the best.
Dr. Danko, we're grateful that you could speak with us this afternoon. We'll come to you for more conversations.
You're welcome.
Dr. Boakye Dankwa is the spokesperson of the outgoing administration and Dankwa government. He says the outgoing government is not responsible and would not be held responsible. But still on some energy-related matters, the member of the National Executive Council of the NDC, Wanda Koto, has attributed the impending doomsday crisis to the failure of the erstwhile Akufo-Addo government failed honor its obligation towards procuring fuel for power generations for the first quarter of 2025. According to him, this was a deliberate ploy to sabotage and frustrate the smooth running of the newly constituted Mahama-led administration. Speaking earlier on ABC in the morning, Mr. Koto noted that despite the perennial challenge of power shortage in the energy sector, the new government remains committed to finding a lasting solution to this.
On our side, on the transition team, they assured us that they were going to get money from Ministry of Finance and they were going to place the order. Because you know that if today we place the orders today, it will not arrive today. Even if it arrives today, you cannot process the fuel today. So they gave certain assurances, but you'll be surprised that they could not meet they could not honor their promise. However, they were able to transfer monies on the last day, even on the 6th, the last day on the 6th, they sent huge sums to the presidency. That's what they did. Paying some contractors huge sums of money. But what was so important, such as ordering of fuel in order to keep the light on, they didn't do that. But I can assure you that we are not just going to complain, we are going to solve the problem, but we just wanted to put the facts out. That is the position of the government.
Okay.
The SPP on our side, on the transition team, they assured us that they were going to get money from Ministry of Finance and they were going to place the order. Because you know that if today we place the orders today, it will not arrive today. Even if it arrives today, you cannot process the fuel today. So they gave certain assurances, but you'll be surprised that they could not meet they could not honor their promise. However,
you're still watching ABC Midday live here on ABC News Ghana. I am Eric Chidibwa. Melody News once again is streaming live on our YouTube platform. Let's just get straight into some more, away from energy. The newly sworn in President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has revoked the appointment of all chief executives of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, as well as assembly members appointed under his relevant provisions of the law. In a statement signed by the Secretary to the President, Callistus Mahama, he emphasized that the decision aligns with the President's commitment to recognizing local government structures for enhanced accountability and efficiency. The statement reads, and I quote, "In accordance with the power vested in His Excellency John Dramani Mahama under the provisions of the Local Governance Act 2016 Act 936 as amended by the Local Governance Act 2007 at 940, the appointment has been revoked effectively today. Chief Executive, assembly members appointed pursuant to the relevant sanctions of the Act. Now, in the interim, the respective coordinating directors of various MMDA are directed to assume responsibilities as acting chief executive until substantive appointment are duly made," the statement reads. Away from that, let's go straight to Koforidua, where the NDC youth have locked office of Koforidua, causing distress for affected staff. And the youth from the National Democratic Congress have locked offices in Koforidua, and calm has been restored. But the situation has been traumatic for affected staff in the regional NIA, New Job and South NIA, the regional NATMO, and National Service Secretariat Office. The affected correspondent Osei Mafo has joined us live on phone, and he'll give us update. Osei, if you can hear me, paint us a picture. What exactly is the situation there?
Okay, thank you very much. I can hear you. And currently, there's calm within the Koforidua areas. That is the New Drabin South constituency. After the NDC youth had stormed some offices and locked the place, such as NADMO office, the NSS office, NIA regional office, the National Health Insurance regional office, all have been locked, including that of the municipal NSS office and that of the NIA offices. According to the individuals whom declined speaking on camera, they claim that they came peacefully to ensure that all those who are politically exposed individuals do not come to continue their work here within the region. So that was what actually happened, and currently the place is calm.
So if you say political individuals, how? Paint us a picture. What were they trying to say in terms of saying that political individuals?
So what they mean is that some individuals were appointed during the former president, that's former President Akufo-Addo's era, and these individuals are politically exposed individuals who were appointed. Obviously, looking at how they are speaking, it seems they do not understand this civil service and then the closer
kind of governance. So obviously they do not really know what goes into it, and that's why some of them are making such claims. However, if you come here, some of the staff says they are scared for what's happening, so they are not going to work until further directives comes in.
Been able to speak to some of the members, and what have they been telling you?
They said they are just scared. In fact, they declined speaking on camera. However, they declined because they said they do not want to be targets for these individuals who are locking various offices. So hence their refusal to speak on camera. However, they say that they are scared for their lives and that they cannot continue under these circumstances, and that they are going home.
Just to clarify, on what authority are these youth, standing to look on these organizations, and what actually, aside from the thing you said about political individuals being affiliated with political parties, especially with the NPP, on what grounds are they basing on, or is because these people are affiliated with the NPP, that's the reason they are closing these offices?
They say a similar trajectory happened after the 2017 elections, and so it's kind of payback time. Their government is in power, and that they have to also do the same to them. So it's more like a payback time.
Right. Also, keep an eye on that for us. We'll come back for more conversations. Also, Marfo is our Eastern Region correspondent over there, and we'll keep an eye on that particular subject. But away from that, let's move straight to Parliament. And Speaker Alban Kingsford Bagwin has reaffirmed his commitment to serve diligently in the ninth Parliament, acknowledging the challenges ahead with the current position in the House, with NDC having supermajority. He spoke to the media during the inaugural ceremony held at the Black Star Square.
Confidence and trust of the people. That is all. And that is not through my strength, it's not my might, it's by divine grace. The secret is that we are not in power, but we are in service of the people. If you want to think that you are in power and you can control people, then you have a problem, because the power is rather in the people, and the people have called you up to serve them, and they want you to serve them in a specific area of their lives. I never take anything for granted, and I should be able to get them to focus more on national interests, the collective interests of all Ghanaians, whether you are NDC or MPP or PNC or independent. That is what matters. Or MPP or PNC or independent. And
in more news, Clement Okolo, the Communications Officer for Parliament Network Africa, has emphasized that the success of the ninth Parliament will largely depend on the leadership, specifically the Speaker of Parliament. In an interview with ABC News Ghana, Mr. Okolo underscored that the effectiveness and approach of the parliamentary leadership in carrying out their duties will play a pivotal role in shaping the overall performance and achievement of the ninth Parliament. He stressed that the direction and attitude adopted by the leadership will be a key factor in determining how well the Parliament functions and whether it meets the expectations of the people.
You can see that Ghana holds a very, very relevant position in the sub-region when it comes to some of these things. So going forward, the posture and the way the leadership of Parliament will take their work is going to define the ninth Parliament that we have just entered. Okay. And to talk about a few of the people that you have mentioned, like Honorable Andrew Isiama, Honorable Ahiafo, and then the Speaker himself, that is Honorable Alban Sumana Bagbin. These are people who have garnered some
Dr. Piti Tekpa, a policy analyst, has said that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's 60 ministers appointment is feasible. He explained that His Excellency has gathered experience over the years in his political career, hence he knows what he's about and wouldn't implement policies that cannot be implemented. Dr. Tekpa spoke on the back of the 26 policies to be implemented within the first 120 days in President Mahama's government.
Just like His Excellency Nanado, when he came and he announced over 100 ministers, and he said that, look, we will appreciate it later. But I think for him, he has been in government before. And so for him to say, I'm going to run with 60 ministers, that should mean that he really understood what he was talking about, other than the others who didn't know or have not tasted the presidency before. President Kufuor also said, President Kufuor also said the same thing when he came to power, when he said there were certain things he couldn't do because he realized that when you are out there, it's different. You are out of the system, you don't know what it is until you get there. But for him, he's been there before. So Ghanaians will take him by his words, and we hope that it will go according to what he said indeed, because it is doable. And I see he has actually proved that he is an experienced president. So most of the things he was talking about were as a result of what he has tasted, what he has seen, what he has gone through, and what he thinks that can be done. And these words have to be taken for it. Then
you're still watching ABC Midday Live here on ABC News Ghana. We're back with some business news. Do stay, don't go anywhere. And in business, Special Aid to President John Dramani Mahama's 2024 campaign, Joyce Montari has reaffirmed the government's commitment to abolishing the controversial electronic transfer levy and the COVID-19 levy, a promise made by the National Democratic Congress NDC 2024 manifesto. Speaking on the presidency's 120-day social contract, she emphasized the importance of fulfilling the pledge to ease the financial burden on Ghanaians, quoting, the e-levy has been a significant concern for many Ghanaians, Madam Montari said.
Of job creation, which is another arm of economic restoration, because remember, unemployment is currently at 14.7%. I believe that this is conservative. It's definitely higher than that, because considering the numbers you meet who are literally unemployed, something must be done. Because look, the biggest security threat to Ghana today is unemployment. Key component of job creation, which is another arm of economic restoration, because remember, unemployment is currently at 14.7%. I believe that this is conservative. It's definitely higher than that, because considering the numbers you meet who are literally unemployed, something must be done. Because look, the biggest security threat to Ghana today is unemployment. And that is why I come back to the theme of the speech, which is that it resonates with me largely because overwhelmingly I see enormous hope. There's a lot of optimism. People feel a certain reassurance. Now we have a president and vice president who both have children in the same, and vice president who both have.
In more business news, economist Professor Patrick Isubin has urged the government to strengthen Ghana's betting tax rather than remove it, emphasizing that its abolition could have negative consequences, particularly by encouraging betting among the youth. Speaking on ABC in the morning, Professor Isubin warned that eliminating the betting tax could have likely worsened social issues. The statement follows President John Mahama's announcement of a 120-day social contract with Ghanaians, in which he pledged to remove certain taxes to alleviate economic hardship and reduce the cost of doing business. Among the taxes set for removal are the betting tax, COVID-19 levy and the e-levy.
So I do think that of the taxes that he promised to remove, I think the one that I'm not in support of is the betting tax. That is some tax that I think we should maintain. Obviously, that promise has been made to appease the youth, some of whom have taken to betting, and therefore they were not happy with the previous government taxing their betting winners. But look, I don't think encouraging betting among our youth is the way we want to go. That's not how we want to run our economy. So for me, I think the betting tax should be strengthened and not removed. But other than that, e-levy is something that we can let go at the first instance. At the first opportunity, we can let the e-levy go. It's such a disruptive and unproductive tax. So I do think that of the taxes that he promised to remove, I think the one that I'm not in support of is the betting tax. That is some tax that I think we should maintain. Obviously, that promise has been made to appease the youth, some of whom have taken to betting, and therefore they were not happy with the previous government taxing their betting winners. But look, I don't think encouraging betting among our youth is the way we want to go. That's not how we want to run our economy. So for me, I think the betting tax should be strengthened and not removed. But other than that, e-levy is something that we can let go at the first instance. At the first opportunity, we can let the e-levy go. It's the way we want to go. That's not how we want to run our economy. So for me, I think the betting tax should be strengthened and not removed.
And that's all for business, but let's do some more local stories. And Ghanaians have commended the newly sworn-in president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for a successful inauguration ceremony yesterday, calling on him to reduce the dollar to create a way for easy access of foreign goods and to reduce expensive things in the country, the moon of expensive goods in markets, and call on him to do something as he starts his tenure today. My colleague Andy Opondenchim is currently at the Black Star Square for some updates. Andy, I believe that as you went to the place, everything is back to normal after the pop-in pageantry and the razzmatazz during the inaugural service yesterday. Paint us a picture, the latest updates from the grounds.
Sure, Melo. So I'm currently here, as you stated, at the Black Star Square, and currently here at the Black Star Square, the sharp contrast between the atmosphere today, comparing it to yesterday's atmosphere, is different. And yesterday, as witnessed a lot of Ghanaians in their numbers filling up the stands here in the Black Star Square, and a lot of people witnessing the swearing of the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. Today, as I came to the grounds, intense work is going on where a lot of the things that were used yesterday are being unpacked. Some are still here. 40% of the stands that they use is here. The chairs that they use have already been packed aside, but majority of the things have been carried away by truck and other. But one thing that I also noticed, which is normal, is the stands. You know, this place, how would I call them? People do come here to rest at the stands, and they come to take fresh air and relax for the day. So as usual, you are seeing a few of these young or old or people in general being at the stands, resting and all that. But currently on the grounds, the Zoom Lion and other people that are in charge in unpacking the things that were used yesterday are being done, especially cleaning is going on. So by the end of today or close by tomorrow, everything here on the grounds at the Black Star Square will return to its normalcy, where we'll have a clean a clean Black Star Square. But the Ghanaians also are as yesterday, most of the vendors who made use of their sales or whatever they are selling today also sighted my eye on the street where they were here in their numbers. They are not here. I just sighted one old woman along the street where she's there with her tabletop item selling. And in my interaction with her, she made mention that...
Andy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Melo.
Yeah, just to know that you spoke to some of the people after the inauguration services that happened yesterday. So let's just hold it for now and listen to the conversations you did have with some of the citizens within the community.
I want the dollar price to come down so that everything will be normal. And then secondly, to the education system, the PSHS, I want him to continue and then expand it.
The new administration is in power, but the best thing they should do is to make reasonable and sensible use of our taxes. That's the best thing. So those who have looted the nation in the previous administration are not to be spared, because we never asked them to come to power. That's the best thing. So a new administration is in. They should also
Of him, so I am very happy that a change has come. As a youth of Ghana, yes, I'm very happy that we have gotten the change we want. We just pray that he does what he says.
Yes, yesterday. I can say the arrangement was okay, all right. And the cleaning and everything, it is today that everything will be done. Yeah, so that is it. It's a new government, so let's see the beginning.
The job and also reduce the things that's high, like the dollar, just to decrease it so that we can order things from outside or something, or get our own business.
Oh, looks sweet, make fine. Oh, I like the way the thing go. Everything make fine. So government be an we dey ban one to neighbor pay no fear no fine. E go be no tun ko no what you. No vote.
Well, a lot of expectations for the NDC government, and officially day 2 of the administration. Yesterday was day 1, today is day 2. We're keeping an eye on that. But let's bring you some sports news after this. And in sport, the Confédération Afrique de Football, CAF, has announced a significant 75% increase in prize money for winners of the Total Energy CAF African Nations Championship in 2024 to be hosted jointly by Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda. The winners of the tournament will now take home $3.5 million, marking a substantial increase from previous editions. Additionally, the total prize money for the competition has been raised by 32% to $10.4 million. CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe, in a statement, emphasized the importance of CHAN as a platform for developing African-based football talent. Quoting, "We are excited about the upcoming Total Energy CAF African Nations Championship, Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda 2024, and have significantly increased the prize money." Let's bring you some international update after this. To stay. The Republic of Ghana has officially suspended its diplomatic relationship with Sahara Arab Democratic Republic, according to the statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, African Cooperation and Moroccan Expatriate of the Kingdom of Morocco. The statement revealed that the Ghanaian government conveyed this decision in an official document from its Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integrations to Morocco's counterpart. In multinational updates, the U.S. has accused the Sudanese paramilitary rapid support forces of committing genocide and imposed sanctions on its leader. The sanction bar Hamiditi and his immediate family members from visiting the U.S. and in the personal assets there are blocked. The U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken on Tuesday said Mohammed Hamid Dangolo, also known as Samini, was being punished for his role in systematic against the 20-month conflict. Let's wrap up the bulletin with some entertainment updates. In entertainment news, Ghanaian dancehall artist Shatta Wale has achieved another remarkable milestone in his illustrious career. His hit song On God has officially surpassed 12 million views on YouTube, solidifying his position as one of the most popular and influential African artists globally. His impressive feat comes hot on the heels of Shatta Wale's show-stopping performance at the Freedom Concert in Jamaica.